salutations, my fellow humans, and welcome to the 2-episode premiere of Season 1 of Blame It on the Ish podcast. I will be your host, the Modern Day Sage, and my goal here is to hopefully bring some positivity into your life in some way. I hope to entertain, I hope to enlighten, I hope to amuse, maybe. So, let's get started. The first episode today is entitled Defending the Cynics. Now, as some listeners will know, and some are yet to discover, it is quite easy to become a cynic living in this world. And personally, I feel like cynics get a bum rap. It's not that we're inherently negative people. We're not, quite the opposite. We are very positive. I'm positive that most of the people in situations I'm going to come across in my life's journey are going to suck eggs. I'm not a huge fan of people. In fact, I hate people. I love individuals. I do. An individual can be beautiful, intelligent, kind, and warm. People, the collective, suck. I do try to give people the benefit of the doubt and do not just assume that they will be morons or uncaring. However, only being in my late 30s, I can say I truly have an excellent track record of being proven right to not trust them. Honestly, I don't trust anyone. I trust human behavior. I trust in the duality of human behavior. Humans are capable of both wonderful and terrible things. It just depends on their character and their motivations. Now, I have been working in customer service for 20 years and for 12 different companies covering the big three of food service, hospitality, and sales. And I have learned a lot about people from these exchanges, mostly by talking to them and trying to understand the why behind their behavior, not listening to react, but rather to understand. You know, whether I agree or disagree with their thinking really becomes irrelevant because it's not my life. And it's really not any of my business, but I understand. If that's how you want to be and live your life, that's your business, so long as you're not hurting anyone else or trying to force your ideals onto others. It can get really depressing out there, I know. I've been through it. Downright dreary and macabre. But fret not. There are some very simple truths that once you've come to terms with, you will find life much easier to live through, and the bitter pills don't need a spoonful of sugar to help you choke them down. So truth number 1. Most people really don't give a shit. Often, people look for reasons why someone did what they did and said what they said and how they said it. And often, those inquiring are looking for a deeper meaning than the simple truth. And the simple truth is, they just don't give a shit. There is no deeper reason to find. Looking for a deeper meaning can be giving people too much credit. I mean, humans, while occasionally brilliant, are not that smart. I mean, let's be honest. If all humans were smart, would we still have to have debates whether the earth is round or flat? And to be clear, it is round. Anything you may consider to be a reason, sexism, racism, ageism, chauvinism, any of the isms are red herrings. You're overcomplicating this. Now, I used to be an Uber driver. Best job I ever had, and I miss it to this day. And one of the things I would do to keep my legs from cramping up was I would pull a classic senior citizens move and walk the mall, which, side note, don't knock it until you try it, young people. Middle of July, you're going to be thankful for that industrial AC. Anyway, normally, did the walk around lunchtime, grab some food, then walked it off before sitting back in the car for the next 6 to 8 hours. One time, on the second floor near the Cold Stove Creamery, an older woman was sitting on a bench and having a hard time standing upright by herself. I have been there, and I will explain that a little later. I'm only a few feet away, and I see this woman extending her arms out, trying to get one of the passersby to give a hand in standing up, and no one would help. 5 or 6 people just blew right past her like she was part of the decor. So, as I approached, I grabbed her hand and helped her stand up. She thanked me and said I was a very kind young man. Aww. And then that was it. The whole interaction took less than 30 seconds. I mean, you people mean to tell me you couldn't be bothered to take 30 seconds out of your day to help an old lady stand up? No, they couldn't, because that meant doing something. I don't give a shit. I don't have time for this. Yes. Yes, you do. You're not going to miss the bus. You're going to make your appointment. You're not going to get old lady warts from touching her wrinkled skin, and I'm pretty sure she's not a Sanderson sister, and you're not glowing, so suck it up, sport, and help an old lady to her feet. Another example is one of my own I just don't give a shit moments. I'm guilty of my own. Smoking. For so long, I have seen and experienced people, strangers, trying to guilt smokers like me into quitting. Oh my God. Such a filthy habit. Like, how can you waste your money on those things? Like, don't you know what that's doing to your body? Don't you care what you're going to be putting your loved ones through if you get cancer? Yes. Easy. I do. No, I do not. First, I enjoy it. I don't need it. I have quit smoking a few times and for significant lengths of time. To be honest, the only reason why I started up again at all is usually because something in life was really stressing me the hell out. I don't care about that stuff. It's one of the few little joys I get in life that makes living that life a little more bearable. And to be blunt, it is quite bold of you to assume that I would even want to fight cancer, or that I have a family that cares that much about me. Also, this is a safety issue for others. What I've seen and been through at my jobs, if I don't have this cig, I'm going to get arrested, and I am way too broke for bail money or lawsuits. Non-smokers who do this guilting are also often hypocrites, because I enjoy smoking pipe tobacco as well. And many is the time that I've had a non-smoker see me smoking my pipe and say, "Oh, that's so cool. My grandpa used to use those, and I love the aroma." Good for your grandpa. I mean, you seem to be rather accepting, even though I'm still sucking down a carcinogen. Huh. Weird. Look, you got the planes, the restaurants, buildings, hospitals. I got to go out into the elements and stand at least 10 feet from the building to have my smoke. And no, I don't care what the weather is outside. There have been blizzards and hurricanes going on, and I still go out for my smoke. Yeah, okay. Admittedly, it's mostly done out of spite, and I got the hoodie to prove it. You really think that you can come up with ways that would make it not worth it? Fat chance, bro. Come at me. Trust. When you see how people behave themselves day in and day out, you're going to light up too. Truth number 2. You're not that special or unique. You're just not. As an individual, you certainly can be. We are who we are and who we choose to be. We should be able to express that within reason, without judgment or persecution. It does not matter to me what you have done, how much you have, how much you've sacrificed, how much you've contributed, because at the end of the day, when you strip all of that away and your character is naked and on display for the world to see, you are only human. We have often read and seen in news articles and social media posts that companies won't give a shit if you drop dead tomorrow. They will have your replacement hired before rigor mortis is even set in. And for the most part, that is true, but remember, it's not always about the bottom line. You are just not that special, especially not to them. And trust me, I get it. It's hard to be your own person in this world and do the things that make you happy without some uncultured swine coming up to you and inserting their unsolicited opinion into your choices. I grew up a goth kid. If any of you have been before or still are, you're probably familiar with some of their go-tos. What are you so sad about? Well, Halloween was last year. I mean, what's with the costume? What's wrong with you, man? What, do you think you're Neo from the Matrix? Just to name a few. Now, I was raised Catholic, and I remember this one time I had to go to church when Saturday was the night out in the club. So naturally, I still have some residual goth going on with black lipstick, eyeliner, nail polish, trip pants with chains and straps, Lamb of God t-shirt, platform boots. Because 6 feet wasn't tall enough, I wanted people to look like ants that I could squish. And the point of the Mass where you go up to receive communion comes up. I go up to receive the sacrament. The priest takes one look at me, takes 2 steps back, stunned that I didn't burst into flames crossing the threshold of the church. He makes the sign of the cross at me and hands me the wafer like I was going to take it from him with my claw. Give the precious. I didn't take offense. I thought his ignorance was hilarious. Another time, I was simply waiting for the bus, and these frat dudes in a busted-up Camry came through driving up to me, and the dude driving stuck his head out of the car window and yelled, "Freak!" as loud as he could. Again, I didn't take it personally. I didn't take offense. Karma was on my side that day because just as he was shouting his ignorance for the whole neighborhood to hear, he almost crashed into a light post. Schmuck. It wasn't all negative. There was this one time I was walking back home from my father's apartment and I saw this little 4 or 5-year-old girl on her tricycle. I had my headphones on and the song that I was listening to ends just in time for me to hear her saying to me as she's waving, "Hi, Mr. Devilman." It melted even my cold heart. It was so damn cute. The point is that while individuality is important, the things that you have chosen to help best represent you as a person are not exclusive to you. You are one of many. That is what it means to find your tribe. You're not that special or unique. People will even say to you, you remind me a lot of so-and-so. What you got to understand is that it's not just your appearance that's making them reminisce of the person they know. It's your behavior and your character. Truth number 3. You can't always get what you want just because you really, really want it. Seriously, you got to get used to disappointment if you haven't already, because it's going to happen a lot in your life. I know this is random, but do you happen to remember this one episode of SpongeBob where he's telling Plankton in disguise who's coming out of a magic shop that one time he saw this magician and he did this thing and then he told us, if you believe in yourself and with a tiny pinch of magic, all your dreams will come true. Bullshit! Listen, most of your dreams won't come true, especially if you're afraid to put in the legwork to make your dreams come true or even have a shot of coming true takes hard work, dedication, practice, skill, and a little bit of luck. For me personally, I've always dreamed of being a rock star, even since I was 16 and saw the movie Airheads with Brendan Fraser, Adam Sandler, and Steve Buscemi. Fraser's character, Chaz, has this one line where he says, "I'm just screwed up and average enough that I could write a song that lasts me the rest of my life. Then after that, it don't matter." I do still hope that one day the stars and planets will align and the opportunity to do just that will happen. But as I got older, I began to be more self-aware and realistic about how tangible that dream is. For starters, I can only read sheet music for drums. I tried to learn piano, but instead of learning how to sight read, I would figure out what it was supposed to sound like and then just memorize the melody, which is not really learning or retaining anything. I have been part of a metal band we called The Effects of Cinema Violence, and I also performed in a hip-hop group with my brother. We called ourselves Black and Nappy. It is very hard to make a name for yourself and get people interested enough in you and your art to turn it into a source of income. It can get brutal out there trying to stay positive and committed to your cause, especially when you're the last on the bill in some dive bar at 1:30 in the morning and the only ones there to listen are some of the bands and their partners and the sound guy. Yes, I know that sounds a lot like the line from the said movie Airheads, but that also is real life. That is what actually is happening. Or even worse, when you're taking the stage mid-lineup and you're thinking to yourself, awesome, we'll actually be able to play in front of a crowd this time. Computer says no. The problem is that 80% of that crowd was only there to see one band. And they went on before you. And now you get to be on stage and watch the place empty before you've even played anything or are even set up. I mean, you want to talk about dejecting? Also, I had the audacity to become comfortable with having a roof over my head and food in my belly. I know. Communism is very bad. I know. I get it. So the whole starving artist bit, while a romantic idea, just wasn't for me. To make your dreams come true, you must endure gigs like that. I mean, ask anybody who's famous now if you get the chance to. They've gone through some brutal trials in just getting where they are. You must weather those storms and keep pushing while at the same time believing with every fiber of your being that it's not always going to be like this and that you are worth it. Because you are. Truth number 4. No, life is not fair. And there really isn't a whole lot you can do to change that. I'm sorry. Life isn't fair. And truthfully, it never will be. For me personally, I was having an amazing 2022. I got my own apartment. I could afford rent comfortably, furnished that apartment. I was able to go to the furniture store and pick out things instead of trying to piece together random elements from the thrift store or fucking Goodwill. I reconnected with the love of my life, got over my fear of flying. I was really bad with that one. I was very much Archimedes from Sword in the Stone. If man were meant to fly, he would have been born with wings. I suffer from anxiety and depression, and 2022 was the first year I went without a single clinical symptom of depression. Now, it took me 26 years to get there, but I got there. All amazing things. Then, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, or MS, in November. Fair? No! Shit was a nightmare. I mean, before we even knew what was wrong, my body just began to shut down on me, and I had no idea why. I couldn't hold a pen or eating utensils. I mean, my hands were completely useless. I had no balance. My speech was impaired. Vision became an issue. I kept getting double vision for no reason. I couldn't walk without crutches or plan out how I was going to walk across the room. Like, what is out that I can grab for support so I don't fall? And believe me, I fell a lot, okay? I mean, I fell more times than Jesus, okay? But instead of bitching about it and going on and on about how unfair it is and, oh, woe is me, I adapted. I first had to consider how to look at this situation. And the conclusion I arrived at was it is just the balancing of the scales. I mean, look at the wonderful things that have happened to you this year. You cannot have all those positives occur in your life without something negative coming to bring balance. And the MS diagnosis was that balance. Which then begs the question, is what I'm currently going through worth everything that I have been given? To which the answer is an emphatic and resounding yes. It really could have been worse. It could have been terminal. It could have been cancer. And all I had to do was adapt to the situation. The hard part's over. The initial flare-up is the hard part. Everything else is just maintenance for the rest of your life. Which, okay, I already do that with the mental side. Why not the physical? Oh no. And that's something that we as humans are meant to do because we are at the top of the food chain. Adapt and overcome. And finally, truth number 5. Often, your hard work is going to go unnoticed, underappreciated, and underrewarded. Very simple. Most times, it does not matter how much you show you care or are good at something or how loyal you are to a person, place, or thing because of please revisit truths number 1, 2, 4. So here's my sage advice. While we have a short time on this earth and you should live your life to the fullest, life is a war of attrition. It's a chess game, moves and counter moves. I mean, think about it. How old are you now? That's a long time, isn't it? And for many, you haven't even hit the halfway mark of your life yet. I mean, myself, I'm 37, and I was over this shit 16 years ago. Now, if I'm lucky enough, I have at least another 37 years to go, and that is a lot of life to live. I mean, regardless of what life decides to throw at me next, I know I am strong enough to take it. Life doesn't scare me. I'm basically surviving purely out of spite, as I said. That's the hoodie to prove it. Call me a cynic if you want to, but the things and people and experiences I have yet to live or meet are all the motivation I need to keep going. There is so much that life has to offer if you know what to look for. And I cannot wait. That's going to do it for this episode of Blame It on the Ish podcast. I have been your host, the Modern Day Sage. If you happen to be listening to this on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I would appreciate that greatly. So long, be safe, be kind,